What's up, guys? Anthony here with Empire Music, empiremusic.com. Continuing our journey through the Vintera II lineup, which is the brand new lineup from Fender, which replaces the Vintera series. Just a few changes there. They got some different eras involved. They got some really cool, unique pickup configurations involved in the lineup, which is nice. They went back to rosewood boards, they changed the frets, and they went to a 7 1/4 radius. That's sort of it from an overarching perspective, but as we dive into each individual instrument, we see some of the nuances and the differences really come into focus. So today we're showing off, and we're really getting our first take at it together. Didn't have a whole lot of chance to play this instrument prior to shooting this video. This is the 60s jazz bass, again from the Vintera II lineup. This is in Fiesta Red. So speaking just on that finish, I think it's also in Lake Placid blue and black. The black has the red torque guard. That's an awesome color combination. The Lake Placid blue has the mint green guard, which I wish they would have done the red torque guard with the Lake Placid blue. That's one of my favorite color combinations, but we can't always get what we want, right? But I'll say this, mint green with Fiesta Red has become like one of my absolute favorite color combos. I never loved Fiesta Red, to be honest with you. It was always one of those like Cimarron Red, Fiesta Red. I don't know, red's not always my favorite color in general, but there's something recently in the past like 6 or 7 months, we got some custom shop stuff in with the mint green on the Fiesta Red, and I was just like, yeah, I really, really like that. And you know what, don't even quote me that they were calling these mint green guards. Maybe it's just like an off-white guard. Whatever, the aged white, mint green, whatever we want to kind of insert there against the Fiesta Red looks really, really awesome. So some of the specs on it, we have 60s voicing on the J pickup, 60s position, so we're not in 70s, which takes that bridge pickup back 1/4 inch towards the bridge. Gives you a little bit more mid-range. 60s, we move it up. So the mid-range, while it's still very present in that bridge pickup, tends to sit a little bit more in the lower mid-range region rather than the upper mid-range region. That also has to do with the pickup kind of voicing on that as well. Typical jazz bass layout, volume, volume, tone. It's kind of cool that they put the tug bar on here, even though really no one's going to use it. Kind of gets in the way for slapping sometimes, but it's cool that it's on there. So early 60s C neck on that. I'm oftentimes the worst person to reference neck profiles and what they're like, but it feels like thin to me. It feels like kind of a modern C. We get that over the 1.5 inch, and you know that certainly that thinner neck feels even thinner because we have the narrower string spacing. Slab rosewood fretboard, awesome. They've gone from the Palfaro that was, you know, readily available to them when they were doing the Vintera I series. They moved it back to a rosewood board, which I think a lot of purists and a lot of standard Fender players are going to enjoy. That was kind of a knock on the instruments for a while, although I think that was somewhat unfair. Maybe not necessarily to Fender. Their reasoning can be whatever it is, but I always thought Palfaro was a really good sounding wood. I think the appearance is what turned people off. Sometimes you could get that pink or that lighter brown kind of finish to it, where we get that deep dark look on the rosewood. I think people are just used to seeing that. Rosewood sounds softer too. It's a softer wood, and it sounds softer. It's a warmer, rounder sort of wood to it, where Pal Ferro I always found sat between maple and rosewood very well too. It's what I liked sonically about it. And there's been very, very high-end manufacturers, we won't insert any names here, but like there are some massive boutique bass manufacturers, we'll just say out of the New York region, that have used Pal Ferro for a long time. So it kind of got a bad rap, I feel like, for no reason other than the fact that it's what Fender chose to replace rosewood with. But we're back to rosewood on the Vintera IIs, and it's nice to see it back. Synthetic bone nut, open gear tuners. Voicing wise, it's cool. It's, you know, I mean, I've done so many reviews on jazz basses, and I tend to lean, I don't play a jazz bass very often, although I own, it's a 6-string, but it has the J pickups in it. And when I want that punchy, aggressive sort of jazz tone, you want pickups that are gonna be, I like pickups that are voiced in the 60s fashion, just again, for my playing style. I know for just a ton of people out there that like the 70s voicing. For me and my attack, and it's kind of what I like to hear out of a bass, I tend to like 60s, so this kind of falls right in line with it. I always like to talk about, we don't show it, but I like to talk about the unboxing of the instruments. This particular one, I know I had just on the Mustang video, and that was set up brilliantly right out of the box. Honestly, it was a joy to play. This one wasn't quite so much. I had to do a pretty substantial setup on this, and now that we have, you know, the it's heel adjust here, so we have to take the neck off a little bit to get to the truss rod to adjust it. Not a big deal. I'm used to doing that with custom shop instruments, so that's not, you know, that's just, if you want the vintage spec, you get that. It's just kind of par for the course. But I did have to do a pretty substantial setup to this. That is not necessarily a bad thing. Fender mass produces a lot of instruments, some in shipping, or again, setups can be all over the board. So we can open up 5 basses, 5 guitars, and the setups will be 5 different ways. It's somewhat luck of the draw. I think the moral of the story is shop with a store, preferably like Empire Music. Shameless plug there. The website, empiremusic.com. Phone number, 412-343-5299. My personal email is anthony@empiremusic.com. So if you're interested in something, reach out to us. But we do full factory setups on all the guitars, basses, whether it be new, used, $400 or $4,000 or $40,000, whatever it is. We're gonna go through it. One of us, whoever you speak with, if it's me, I'm gonna go grab that bass. I'm gonna take it out of the box. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna go over it. I'm gonna give it to our tech. I'm gonna have any notes that they might need to know to get it set up to a very optimum level for you to have the best playing experience right out of the box. Obviously, things can happen in the shipping process and things like that, but we do our best to really take care of the customer and make sure that we're getting you a guitar or a bass that is as playable as possible. So fear not, there is some inconsistencies with any manufacturer when we're opening up mass-produced instruments, assembly line style instruments. But again, we can kind of usually get that into a super playable state before you see it. So that's just kind of a note on the, when I took this thing out of the box there, but I got it dialed in and it's playing great. So it's that typical kind of 60s thing. Let's go, both pickups wide open, full tone. That's where we had it for the intro. And I'm playing through a Rumble 200. I apologize, I always forget to mention that. And if I click on any overdrive, I'm using the Way Huge Pork and Pickle, which is a staple of my pedal boards. It's an overdrive. It's also a fuzz. For this, I have it on the overdrive setting. Also, if you're looking for any effects, reach out to us. We have a pretty nice selection of that stuff as well. So wide open, clean. Just a quick observation, because again, I always say in my videos, we're doing this in real time together. I've spent, man, I don't know, 10 minutes with this bass, plus the setup. And it's exactly what you want to get out of it sonically with a 60s jazz bass style. So, you know, if I start to compare this to, like, let's say the high end, the Fender custom shop stuff, it sounds very, very similar to it. The playing experience is a little bit different. We don't have a nitro finish on that with the urethane finish. It feels more like one of their Mexican series instruments, but voicing wise, it's very, very in line with what we expect with the 60s stuff. So just kind of a quick note. Too with the jazz bass is, like, in any mix that's gonna work. If you're playing funk, soul, if you're playing punk, metal, whatever, like, that is gonna work. We're gonna put some overdrive on and it's gonna kill with a pick. Does everything from, like, nice and neat and kind of like in the box to aggressive, which is cool. Some palm muting stuff's gonna sound nice on this too. Again, we're still wide open, just both pickups, full tone, which, like, kind of with the jazz bass sometimes, and I'm not saying for everything, but you can kind of set it and forget it with the jazz bass. So you can treat these as simply as a P bass, which is just sort of like, it can be a one-trick pony and just do a great trick, you know, which is that punchy. I always associate it sort of with, like, a modern bass sound, even though we're still in a passive bass. Same thing with the pick. Now again, now we're at a tone 2. Now that was, like, my least favorite. I love this tone, palm muting with a pick recently, but that was, like, my least favorite tone out of that pickup combination. So right when I say it's a set it and forget it thing, I know if I go right to this neck pickup and do that same thing, I like that more. So I retract my last statement. Again, we're going through this together here, real time. The finger style, we're really in, like, P-bass territory here too. I always associate the front pickup on a jazz bass, like, it's very, it has like a fundamental sort of P bass tone with an extra kind of snap on the top end. It's almost like, it's right in between like P bass and short scale bass. And I had just done that Mustang video prior to this one, and it sort of really got me thinking about that. The front neck pickup on a jazz bass sits right in between, I think, standard P bass and short scale bass. Gives you that upper snap, but it also has that low, warm, kind of big fundamental to it. Put a little overdrive on that. So that's front neck pickup. Now we go back to that bridge pickup. We're gonna bring all of that mid-range character out. We're gonna lose a little bit of low end, but we're gonna get all that cut that a bridge pickup is gonna give you, again, in 60s position. So I associate that, whether right or wrong, because it's always sort of opinion and kind of what the sound kind of looks like to me. I always think of bass sounds or instrument sounds as looks, sort of. Lower mid-range rather than upper mid-range accentuated. 70s, I think, gives you a little more of the upper mids, and 60s gives you the lower mids, but that has a lot to do with the positioning. It's a 1/4 inch difference there. Obviously harmonics just kind of ring through in that position, which is why I'm always prone to playing them. But it's a super cool bass. It's really exactly what you expect out of a 60s jazz bass. So the Fender Vintera II, which is a new lineup, it is the kind of newest iteration of the Vintera. We've made some changes in the fret size. We've made some changes back to a rosewood board, which again, I think a lot of Fender purists will appreciate. Very, very cool bass. This one's in Fiesta Red. But give us a ring. We'll see what's in stock at the time of you watching this video, and who knows when that's going to be. 412-343-5299. You can email me directly. It's anthony@empiremusic.com, and that is also the website, which is just empiremusic.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.